I think we've got time for one more.
Okay.
How can we know that God forgives us?
Yeah, that's a good question. How do I know that God forgives me? We talked about how we can receive God's forgiveness and we can ask him for it. And I remember first hearing this message many years ago now, that there is a God who through Jesus was willing to forgive me, and if I asked him for that forgiveness, he would give it to me, and I could know a relationship with God. So I remember going home and sitting on my bed and talking to God and saying, God, I'm sorry for the stuff that in my life is wrong. Please forgive me. Please come into my life. And then nothing really changed. Like, the sky didn't flash, I didn't start hovering 6 inches above the ground and levitating. I didn't feel any difference. I was like, well, how do I know that that's happened? And then I discovered that actually part of living the Christian faith is trusting the promises of God. In the Bible, there are lots of promises that God makes. He makes promises like this: if we confess our sins, if we own up to our failings, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us, to clean us up from all the stuff that's wrong in our lives. That's a promise. And I can claim that promise to myself. I can say, yes, I've done that. And now he has done that for me. And actually that's what living the Christian life is partly all about. It's about learning what God has promised to us in Jesus, and then learning to live in the light of that, and to live in the truth of that, and then to live as if that is true. And that is a wonderful thing. And how do I know it's true? Well, because it's all based not just on an idea, but on an event. It's based not just on what Jesus taught, but what Jesus did. That Jesus died on a cross to deal with the payment of my wrong, but then he rose from the dead to show that payment had been accepted. It's a bit like, when you're shopping and you use your credit card and you're not sure whether you've got enough credit limit left to buy something. There's that nervous moment when you're waiting to see whether it says, payments accepted or payment declined. And when Jesus died on the cross, there's that nervous 3 days where we're thinking, is it payment accepted or payment declined? And then Jesus rises from the dead, and it's God's way of saying, payment accepted. We can be forgiven. And so how do I know? I look at the fact that Jesus lived and he died and he rose again. It happened in history. We're going to be looking at the evidence for that on Friday, checking it out. Come back then. If you can't wait for then, check out the book on the bookstore, Can We Trust the Gospels? Great place to start. Look into that. Because if it happened, if it's real, then we can claim those promises for ourselves and then live in the light of that, and we can start to experience the joy of it as well.